Welcome back, everybody, to TriFecta Airsoft Podcast. E-Rock here, and I have a guest today, Rob,
Hey,
the host of Gunfather Milsim. Thank you for being on, bro.
glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is fun. We've been talking for about 20 minutes now, maybe a little longer with our, drink breaks and whatever. But cheers, man. And so we finally decided to start the podcast and talk about some of the guns you've had.
All things guns related, all things airsoft guns related.
Airsoft guns, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for new guys or new viewers on this video here, and also the audio podcast, if you're not familiar with Rob from Gunfather Milsim, first of all, go to his channel. Check out, subscribe to his channel, like some of his videos, whatever, and comment on some of his videos. His latest video, he does a breakdown of airsoft snipers and how to best kind of perform that role with different kind of teammates.
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome, dude. It was awesome.
I appreciate it. Yeah. It was,
for real.
put some thought into that one. It was a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So he's got a lot of good knowledge. Go to his channel, check out. He's got a whole section on CQB, clearing rooms, tactical stuff that, honestly, that I didn't even learn when I was in the Marine Corps, 30 years ago, because they were still teaching jungle warfare from Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, go to his channel, check it out, and you'll get some history there and some great lessons on all these different types of training. Yeah. So I thought it'd be kind of cool if if I share my screen and I'll bring up a random picture of one of the ones you sent me, and then that'll, you can just talk about which one it is, where you got it, the history, if you played a game with it, whatever. Cool.
We'll see. Well, let's do it. Let's see if I can remember.
Let's see what happens here.
So this one. This actually, I didn't even take this photo. I had this. This is the first and only rifle I ever sent to someone else to have painted. So it's one of my first ICS M4s that I owned. I sent it to Mutinous Creations, and she did that. I said I wanted a Desert Marpat because that was a camo pattern that me and my team were wearing a lot during the fall. And we really liked it. At a lot of ops, we would wear Desert Marpat, like Oklahoma Invasion 6, it's back that long ago. And I sent it to her. So she's the one that took the photo right after she painted it. And she did a real thorough job. They have the ovens there to heat up the gun and let the paint kind of dry in there real good. And she did a great job on the pattern. I forget her name, but she works for Mutinous Creations. I don't even know if Mutinous Creations is still a thing, but they do a lot of patches and T-shirts for airsoft teams. At least they used to. So that's her photo she took. That's why it looks so professional. Well, but yeah, that was a standard ICS M4. Yeah, they're a good company.
I'll look them up, and if they're still legit, I'll put a link or whatever. But because that looks awesome, and the picture is well taken for sure.
Yeah, it's a EOTech replica, and it was like I did ICS for a long time, and I knew how to those I think it was called a PCR 97. It's basically a Gen 2 ICS with a split gearbox. Yep. I could get those M4s running 398 FPS with .2s in my sleep. 603 type bore barrel, 110 spring, and a bearing spring guide. 110
spring. Okay.
Yeah, 110 spring. It would put me right at 398 every time. Yeah. Right there.
Is this your very first gun that you went on the field with?
No. Okay. Probably one of them. Probably one of them.
With ICS, how did you? Yeah. When you got into airsoft, we might have talked about this before. I honestly don't remember on our last podcast. But when you first got into airsoft, how did you decide what guns to use? Like what brand? What
everybody kind of has that airsoft mentor that kind of gets them into it.
Absolutely.
And shows them the way. And the guy that started me down the path, he's actually younger than me. And his call sign's Whiskey. His name's Chris. Good dude. He says, hey, ICS is the way to go. ICS is the shit. Split gearbox, it's an M4. It's great. So I started down that path of ICS, and I honestly stuck with ICS for a very long time. In fact, I still like this. Oh, this is my CQB gun here. This is a ICS Captain. I never really went too far away from them. I was actually, they sponsored me for a while. I was part of their ICS Captain program. Went well for a couple of years and kind of wanted to step away from it, so I bowed out. But yeah, ICS, the nice thing about them is with the split gearbox, they're really easy to work on. And when you're learning to tech, and most of the crap that breaks is in that upper gearbox, your piston.
Yep, your piston.
Cylinder, all that. Right. Everything's right there. It's real easy to work on them. Don't have to take out gears.
Oh my God.
Much faster. So for a guy learning how to tech, it was great to be down with ICS. And later on, I evolved into working on version 3s and full version 2s and blah blah blah. Now I'm not afraid of really any gearbox, but I still got a soft spot in my heart for ICS. Early on, ICS, so they had their split gearbox right there. It was the shit, and nobody else had it. Yep. And there was no such thing as a quick change spring system.
Nope.
Then they developed quick change spring systems, honestly, not that long ago. And then all of a sudden, the split gearbox wasn't really that cool anymore.
Yeah.
It wasn't that relevant because the hardest part about putting the gearbox back together was when you put that spring under tension and you try to put that shell back together and you feel like you need 4 hands and everything just wants to come flying back out. Well, once you had the removable spring, quick change spring, it was easy. Then all of a sudden the split gearbox isn't that cool anymore.
That definitely was the hardest part for sure. That spring in there. ICS. Now you actually found out about the ICS split gearbox thing way earlier than I did. It was a big learning process for me with the gearbox stuff for sure.
Yeah, you basically got version 2 and version 3 anymore. There's some other weird crap like M14s and MP7s and stuff, but version 2 and 3. Yeah. For what it's worth, I prefer 3. I think 3 is the better one. Yeah. But that's AKs. So.
Yep. Exactly.
For years I had so many. So they have the PCR 97s, which are basically the second gen ICS. The Gen 1s were trash. My first gun I ever had was a Gen 1 ICS. I bought it on eBay. The kid didn't know if it was Gen 1 or Gen 2. He was pretty sure it was Gen 2. It shows up. It's a shit show. And I learned a valuable lesson about you can't trust airsoft people with used guns. And I ended up saying, I got pissed and I sent it back. He paid me back, whatever. So I only have like 1 week of fighting this Gen 1 on my tool bench, and it was a nightmare. Then I bought a new Gen 2. Things were great. PCR 97, everything's off to the races. Then they came out with the Gen 3s started with what they called the Transform 4 line. And that ended up evolving into, what do they call it? It's the same one that's in this one, this ICS Captain. But basically all the ones that had an electric blowback, which is kind of a gimmick, but whatever. I'm not going to hold it against them.
Yeah.
But, and this is pretty much the standard now. All the ones that have this gearbox here that has the, fake bolt attached to it. This is basically Gen 3. And these are great. A lot of people disable the blowback. It holds up fine, but this gearbox is lights out. So, and that's still how they come now. Some of the newer models have the electronic trigger and all sorts of other crap. Upgraded the electronics, but the basic guts of it, the gears and the piston and all that, still the same as this one.
Yeah, those are nice. I never. We had one electric blowback gun that we've got in one of the mystery boxes, and we disabled it. We tried it both ways.
Yeah.
And it just uses so much battery,
It's never even remotely close to anything resembling real recoil.
No,
it's not really worth messing with. It's a gimmick. It
really is gimmicky. Yeah.
Yeah.
The pistols that are kind of replicas that are full steel or whatever. Mm-hmm. The blowback on those feel obviously not the same, but
no, but it's at least worth talking about. It's worth discussing.
Right.
So,
Yeah, the blowback on those, on the rifles are not, it's not even close. It's more like a 22,
yeah.
like a 22 LR for, that kind of poof.
Well, and obviously an AR-15 shooting, 5.56 or 223 or whatever doesn't have a ton of recoil. It's a really low bar. It doesn't. They barely recoil at all.
Only because of that, 20-inch buffer spring. And I remember when we first started training with them. Now I trained on the M16 A2s, and I remember, like, I can't believe, because I shot a couple rifles before I went in, 308 and a 30-06, and I was like, I can't believe there's this little recoil on that fat of a round,
Yeah.
or at least how much gunpowder was in there. And we took we had to break it down. We took the buffer spring out, and it's this fucking long. I'm like, holy shit, okay.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, you can shoot that thing off your nose, I'm like, okay.
30-06 will beat you up. I mean,
I'm telling you, bro.
Yeah.
Especially with a 220 grain. Whew.
Yeah. I've shot some 50 BMG, a Barrett. We used to have a Barrett on the team, a single shot Barrett, not the so the one that really beats you up. It is
the M2, the Deuce that I shot, that machine gun. Yeah, I mean, you'll never feel it because it's the
right. It's mounted.
It's mounted.
Yeah. No, our 50 beat us up.
That single, yeah. I've never shot one of those.
Well, we're supposed to qual when we qual with it. We don't really have it, but anymore. But when we had it, we were supposed to do 10 shots a year to qual, just to familiarization shoot. We'd each get to 3, and we'd be like, we're done. It just beats you up.
God.
So
yeah,
it's like somebody hitting you in the shoulder with a sledgehammer every time you shoot it.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I was trying to sight in one of my first rifles after I got out of the Corps was oh my God, I can't even think of it right now. It was a 30-06, and it was one of my favorite rifles. A bolt action, but it had a steel butt plate. It was old school, right? Wood stock steel butt plate, and
Durand?
No, God, I can't even believe I can't remember it. It was my favorite 30-06 ever, except when I went to sight in my new scope. I had a 6-power scope,
right?
And I was using a 3x9 by 40, whatever. And then I went to a 6-power, and then I bought on the way to my buddy's house, who had a range. He had a bunch of land, so he had a range out there. And I went to go sight it in. I was like, oh shit, I need rounds. So I went and stopped. The first store I went to, all they had were 220 grain. I was like, dude, no. Like, no way. Because, I mean, I was used to shooting like 150, 180.
Right.
Even the 125s. But, so anyway, I got them. I got to round 18 out of a 20 round box, and I was like,
yeah,
no, dude.
I'm out.
I was fucking hurting, bro. I was hurting so bad. But anyway, a Savage 110. Anyway.
Oh, I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, yeah. It was one of my favorite 30-06s, bro. Solid as hell. Yeah.
Not a common cartridge anymore. It really isn't. You don't see a lot of 30-06 anymore.
No. Yeah, 308 took over, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, you go from a 5.56 or a 223 to a 308 because it's really versatile.
Yep.
You can have a 308 bolt action. You can have a 308 kind of like a, set up on the style of
M14, R8. Yeah. 308 brings the hate. That's what we say.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's dude, that 30 caliber, man, it's people don't realize when we talk about 5.56 or they say AR-15, assault rifle, whatever. It's a 22.
Yeah.
It's really a 22. A super high speed 22. I
don't see anybody lining up to get shot by it, but no, it's not.
Oh, for sure.
It has nothing compared to a 308. It's not even the same ballpark.
No. Yeah. It's when I was in, we actually qualified. So we were using the M16 A2s, and then we qualified with the 1911s. We still had the Springfield 1911s before they switched to 9mm. So I did 4 years active duty. Well, the first 2 years, we were still using 1911s. Had to qualify with that every year, and then the M9s came out. So we had the 9mm they switched over to. So I had to requalify with that, and it just, to me, I mean, 9mm are great. They're fun, They're great for target shooting. But if I want, I mean, this is like not obviously like what you do, police work, whatever. But like on the battlefield where your enemy is going to be wearing all kind of fucking gear.
Yeah, you like
ain't shit, bro, unless you're going to hit them in the
face. I tell you, that Beretta M9, both for ease of shooting and the raw aesthetics of it, is a beautiful handgun. I mean, it's dated, but during its time in the 80s and 90s, it was a really a magnificent handgun. I still like Berettas.
Yeah.
But in the early 2000s, they came out with the 9mm plus P, which kind of it was just a hotter 9mm cartridge.
Right.
And that brought 9mm back to the forefront. And now, if you're not using 9, you're a dinosaur. I still carry a 45 at work because, Elvis Presley shot a 45 and they don't make a 46.
Elvis Presley fan. Hell yeah.
All the recruits, I work at the academy, and all the recruits have to have a Glock 17. So they all carry 9mm. So when I'm shooting with them on the range, they have boxes and boxes of 9mm, just crates of it. And I come out and I'll bring a couple boxes of 45 and I'll write on each one of the boxes adult bullets, just so they know whose they are, and I mess with them all the time. Like, this is a man's weapon, a man's cartridge. And I love 9mm. It's cute. My daughter loves hers. I got like literally 90% of my material with the recruits for comedy is fucking with them about their 9mm. It's all bullshit, by the way. Ballistically, it's a wash. They're the same ballistically because the 9 moves faster with the plus P and the 45 moves slower. Ballistically, it's a wash. The recoil impulse is similar. 9mm, you just get a lot more bullets, so more bullets for more problems. The debate is over. 9mm is superior right now. 100%. Having said that, 100%. I still carry my 45 because I'm nostalgic, and I've shot a lot of things with it. And I like putting the big holes in paper, so I use my 45.
Bro. Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, cheers to that for sure.
Yeah.
Because that is that's how I feel. I feel exactly the same way. It's the 9 trumps it because of the ballistics, like you said. It's fine. And then more rounds. But I love the feel of a 45, bro. I just love it.
45 till the end. I'll probably roll 45 till they make me.
So what kind of 45 you got? Is it
a Glock 21 SF?
Yep.
SF is the current model I have is a Glock 21 SF, but
gotcha.
Glock 21.
Now, would they allow you, on the force? Would they allow you to bring any kind of 45 you want, or no, you got it anymore. You got not a revolver, but
anymore. Actually, I'm grandfathered in that I can carry a 45 for several years now.
Oh, okay.
Everybody's got to carry a Glock 17 or a Glock 19.
Gotcha.
So and pretty much everybody picks the 17, which the 17. So now they're using
between those.
Well, the 17's, the 19's the compact version of the 17. They're both 9mm. 19's a little smaller. It's what I carry off duty as a 19 when I'm just walking around town.
Gotcha.
The Glock 19 is basically the quintessential off-duty backup gun or off-duty carry CCW gun. It's the shit. Small enough to conceal, yet big enough to still be a proper handgun in a gunfight.
Right.
So some of those little pocket pistols they're shit. No, those little Kel-Tecs and stuff. But it's funny. I was just talking to somebody today about it. And they were asking me about off-duty guns, and I said, well, pretend you're behind cover and you're getting shot at, and you have your off-duty gun in your hand. Are you filled with dread or confidence? If you're filled with dread, get a bigger gun. And with a 19, I'm not filled with dread. I'm filled with confidence, so I'm happy with that.
That's a really good standard.
I'm trying. That's what I thought.
That's a really good standard. Yeah, because a lot of people don't know, and the problem is a lot of people get a gun, they don't ever go shoot it. They just stick it in their wherever console of their car or something like that, and then dude, Go shoot it.
And when I started on the department, we had to get a Glock 40. It was during that real narrow window where we had the Glock, you could put the Glock 22 or the Glock 23, which were both 40 caliber Glocks. And the 40 caliber cartridge is dead in disco. But
yeah,
during that
come
time,
on now. Where's my?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even have it in here. I got a 40 right now.
Yeah,
Smith & Wesson 40.
That was right before the
And I hate it.
the plus P's came out for 9mm. But I tell you that 40 caliber is not an easy cartridge to shoot. It's very snappy. It has a significant amount of recoil and it's moving. I mean, it gets the job done. It really gets the job done. But I tell you, it's not an easy cartridge to shoot. And it's ballistically, it's a wash between the three, between 940 and 45. So you're better off going with the 9, easier to shoot. It's not as hard on the actual gun. The 40 caliber is really hard on Glocks. It'll bang them up.
See, a lot of people don't realize. So a 9mm. So you got millimeters, you got calibers, right? Mm-hmm. So they don't realize a 9mm, and I'm sure you know this. 9mm is equivalent to like a 38, right? So it's real close to it.
Yeah, real close.
So if you do the math, so basically calibers are set up on the standard measurement, which is thousandths, right? So 38 is 0.380 thousandths of an inch diameter. So a 50 cal is half an inch. So it's like the size of my thumb, the diameter. That's a good, litmus test or whatever. The 9mm is about my pinky size. 38, kind of, real close to the same. 40 is just a tiny bit bigger than a 9mm as far as diameter.
Just a hair.
Yeah. And the cartridge isn't the same as a 9mm. So the 9mm can get way better ballistics, and they've gotten way more, tests with it. It's been out longer. The 40 cal seemed like it didn't last long.
The rage for the 40 cal came out. The FBI did a big study and came out and they endorsed the 40 caliber. They said the 40 caliber is the best cartridge for law enforcement because of blah, 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 ballistics. And they had all this, they shot a bunch of gel and they did all this testing, and 40 cal was the shit. The FBI and all the federal agencies are switching to 40 cal, and all these law enforcement agencies followed suit. That was in the late 90s.
Yeah.
And my department was kind of, caught up in the craze of that. And I said, okay, everybody's going to buy a 40.
Yep.
And then that just went away. So it turned out that was all bullshit, and now we're all using 9s. So
yeah. And the funny thing is you can get the same amount of rounds in a clip, right? I think a 40 cal.
40 is like one fewer.
I think, yeah. Yep. I'm going to say one or two fewer.
Mm-hmm. But I believe the Glock 20, the Glock 17 was a full-size Glock. And 9mm carries 17 in the cartridge. That's 17.
Yep.
The Glock 22, which is a 40 cal, carries 15 in a magazine, so it's 2 less.
Gotcha.
I'm a Glock armor, so I know some of this stuff. Which means I get free Glock swag, and I have a bunch of, manuals and shit. So.
All right. And knowledge, which is
enough that I can fix your gun if you break it, probably.
Yeah. Probably. Most things.
Yeah, they're not that complicated. But I tell you what, that Glock, while we're talking about Glocks, that Glock Gen 5, Glock 17 Gen 5, that Gen 5 is lights out. That gun is amazing.
Really?
So it's, some of the Glock generations, like the difference between the 3 and 4 was marginal. Yeah. But between the 4 and 5, that was a huge leap forward. That Glock 17 Gen 5 is a phenomenal pistol. Yeah. So
I never used
if I ever get rid of my 45, I'll buy one.
Yeah. I used a Glock 17 in real, the real steel, and then all the other ones were all the 1911s, the M9s, and 9mm. I can't remember what the 9mm that the guys have. I think it's a Smith & Wesson 9mm that they have that we go to the range with. But we use long guns most of the time.
People talk shit about Glock, but the loudest voices are always 1911. But 70% of law enforcement worldwide Use Glock
Oh no, Glock.
17 and 19. Yeah, Glock. They do it
I
right.
love, yeah. I remember years and years ago. I mean, a long ass time ago when Glock, was first starting to hit the market.
Huh?
My cousin, who was a helicopter pilot in California, he switched to Glock, and he was talking about it back then, and I had never even heard of it. I was in fact, I was still in the Corps, so this is early '90s, and he was like, "Oh yeah, these things are awesome." He went from a Smith and Wesson to a Glock, and he slept with one under his pillow. He lived in kind of a rough area in Southern Cal, so.
A lot of those.
Oh yeah, for real.
Yeah.
But I've loved them. I love their style and
Tactical Tupperware.
right. No shit. Well, let me pull up another image, and we'll talk about the next one here, if I can get this right. So
that is small, but
picture you sent me, yeah, it came out small, but if you can see it,
that's because I'm garbage at technology.
Right.
That is an Echo One OCW, which is essentially a Cyma AK with a hop-up bucking. Basically, that's it.
Okay.
That gun to date is the best AEG I've ever owned, ever.
Holy shit.
Yeah, those Echo One OCW AKs shoot lights out. Version 3 gearbox, standard Cyma AK. It's a Cyma AK.
Yeah.
Just have a mediocre a good hop-up rubber installed after the fact.
Yeah.
And I just did some modest upgrades to it, 603 Type bore barrel, and that gun shot absolutely lights out. So, phenomenal gun. My favorite gun for years.
Now, is this a gun you got early on?
No, that was about 6 years in to playing Airsoft. I finally decided to try an AK, and I just got lucky, and I tried that one, and it's awesome. I think I had one Cyma AK-74U I played with a little bit, which convinced me to get the OCW because I knew it was essentially Cyma. And even now, most of the Airsoft AKs out there are some version of a Cyma gearbox.
Yeah, that's true.
So, or CYMA or whatever the hell you want to call it.
Yeah.
I love that gun. So
that's cool. Yeah, we've gotten a few of those. I've gotten a few of the cheap ass plastic, mock wood, whatever plastic. I think they were the Cyma. God, I can't remember, 410, 110. I don't know what model it was, but we've gotten a handful of them in our mystery boxes, and they had the same gearbox you're talking about. But the outer stuff was all like the cheapest shit ever. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I thought, this thing's so light, dude. It felt like a toy. Okay. It's going to shoot like shit. So we do a review on it. And this thing is shooting like a fucking laser at 410 out of the box.
Yeah, they were pretty common to come 410, 420, even 430 out the box. And they ran like a sewing machine. They just run.
Yep.
I love them.
Yeah, we never had any feeding issues straight out of the box with and I was like, oh, this thing's gonna feed all messed up because it feels kind of wonky or whatever, and it feels light and cheesy. No, this thing was awesome. I was like, holy crap! Yeah, it was one of the first guns that impressed me, feeling as light as it did.
Yeah, when I started playing those Cyma AKs, that was the exception to the you get what you pay for rule. Is that unless it's a Cyma AK and you could buy them for $125, $150, and they would they just run lights out.
Yeah,
and they'd come with like a 600 round high cap or something ridiculous like that. You could just have one mag, just wind it all day, and you just play all day.
I'm serious. Yeah, it was great. I was like, this thing, because when we open these boxes, some of the guys that have been playing Milsim, like I said, I didn't play, so these guys are out there playing, and they're getting the these high end guns or whatever. And upgrading them and stuff. And then we open these and they're like, oh, that's shit. And then we go out and review it. I'm like, dude, this thing is fucking bad. I'll take this on the field every day.
Right.
Give me light. They're all like, I want realism. I want a gun that weighs the same amount as the real steel gun. I'm like, yeah, you say that now, when we're out here in our backyard for 10 fucking minutes. Go out there in a milsim for 3 days, carrying that fucking shit, humping it around for 12 hours a day. You'll say
Yeah.
different.
All those Simas are really what made the version 3 gearbox so desirable, that reputation for just being, reliable and, straight shooting. They had the slider hop up, which I always had more luck getting good consistent hop up with that slider than I did with the dialing ones on the version 2s of the M4s. Yeah, it's just
same with all of us, actually.
Yeah. Great gun.
For that. Yeah. Awesome. All right, let's do another one.
That is my current sniper rifle. That's an Ank M24.
That thing looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, and I tell you what, that particular gun, I didn't purchase. A teammate gave it to me. And he's one of those guys,
painted?
he got in, what's that?
As it is, painted like that?
No. He gave it to me stock. And he got into Airsoft. And he's one of those guys who you kind of introduce him to Airsoft and they just jump in with both feet. And all of a sudden they're buying like 8 guns.
Yeah.
That was him.
Gotcha.
So he buys this one, and I was a hardcore VSR 10 guy. G-Spec. That was my sniper rifle.
We had one of those as well. Yeah.
Right. And you have to. It's obligatory.
Yeah.
So he goes, I got this Ank M24. It's the shit. I'm like, okay, whatever. And I look it up. It's $125 gun. Whatever. I blow them off. Finally, he goes, just borrow it for a while. Just do a review on it. I want you to do a review. I got the channel going. Okay, I'll do a review. And I shoot this thing, and I want to hate it. I want to not like it because it's $125.
It's cheap.
And my G-Spec.
Gun, bro.
Yeah, right. And my G-Spec all in is like a $500 built sniper rifle that, 500 plus, all day.
Yep.
And I start shooting this thing, and I'm like, fuck, this thing shoots lights out. It is so solid. It basically came with a 90-degree sear trigger, which made all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
So it's got that $200 upgrade that, most Tokyo Maru VSR 10s, you got to buy that 90-degree sear trigger, the zero trigger. You got to buy that. It's a $200, $180 upgrade. Well, this comes with something similar out the box, so it can handle that higher FPS out the box. It's got kind of a unique cylinder in that it is not quite, the diameter is a little bit smaller than a VSR 10, but it's a lot longer. So I think the actual air volume is higher than a VSR 10, which takes some fighting. I did a video review of it, and then I did I loved it. And he goes, just keep it, do a project video on it. I said, okay. So I really only spent like $30 upgrading it. And painted it, obviously. And then I went out and tested it, and I put you can see the little screw on top there. I did a top dead center mod with some kid asked me the day on the channel, where did you get that kit? That's such a small screw, for that top dead center mod. And I'm like, that's out of a bucket of screws I have for fixing stuff around the house, bro. It's just one I found and threw in there.
Yeah.
And it shoots really well. I did a test with it and the VSR 10. I had some buddy of mine run out, and we were taking, I'd shoot him with that, shoot him with the VSR 10, and see which would reach farther and more accurate based on how they were coming at him. And he said, and that was superior. So I sold my VSR 10, and now I use that. The only complaint I have about it is the magazines are just kind of shitty. They feed fine, they feed flawlessly, and they're really cheap. They're like $8 a piece, but they only hold like 20 BBs. So you're reloading fairly often, which isn't a big deal with a sniper rifle, but it's the the magazines are less than ideal, but it's reliable and holds up well, and they're only 100 and now they're like 150 on e-bike, but they're great. Okay. That's a G&G.
Nice.
So,
with all kind of fixings on it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what exact model of G&G that was. It was like their G&G GR18 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my CQB gun for a while.
Yep. That
light there, that tack light is a Phoenix TK11 rechargeable. That's what I was using at work. and I had a bunch of them, and I had an old one, and I put it on that gun.
Nice.
That optic is actually a real Aimpoint M2. I still use that optic to this day. I have it on my Arcturus Ak right now, just because I bought it for like $200 used off a friend of mine. And yeah, that's a real steel Aimpoint M2, and one of those buy once, cry once sort of things.
Yep.
Because I tell you what, that thing lasts forever. I mean, I've been using that M2 for 12 years.
Damn.
So
nice.
Yeah. Honestly, the G&G, I've always considered them kind of a discount brand. Oh, it's got a laser on it too. If you look at the bottom there, it's got a red dot. I was playing around with lasers for a while. So I actually had a double pad on there. The one was the light and the other was the laser.
Yeah.
The top was the light, and the thumb on the bottom was the laser is how I ran it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that gun was, honestly, it always kind of gave me a lot of troubles. I never did really get it running like I wanted it to. It never gave me the reliability I was having from an ICS or a CYMA, and ultimately I just never went to another Gng M4 again. I just got tired of fighting it.
Yeah, I think the only Gng that we have is the ARP9.
Yeah. And this was a long time ago. This was probably 2011.
Yeah,
so
yeah. I mean, this, obviously this is newer, but it's in the last, couple years, and that thing is great for, CQB or whatever, but that's the only experience we have with the G&G stuff.
Yeah, it was never a good outdoor gun. It was always a CQB gun, because outdoor, I think it was about 330 is what it ran at. Okay. And the motor just couldn't handle the higher FPS, just couldn't pull that 110 or 120 spring. It just, I was always fighting it. So,
did you sell it, or?
I don't even remember. I probably did, but it probably cheap. I don't know.
Gave it to a new player.
There's a lot of guns. I just scrap them for parts, and after I scrapped for parts, there wasn't enough to sell. And I mean, the
same thing.
I say all airsoft is varying degrees of cheap Chinese shit, and used airsoft is used cheap Chinese shit. And sometimes you're just better off throwing it in the trash than making an enemy out of somebody you sell it to.
Yeah, no shit, right? Yeah, I've got a box or 2 boxes of parts out here that are actual, good parts. But the rest of the gun is it's in the trash. So
yeah, that was my experiment with Gng M4s, and never again. Yeah. Leave it at that. Okay, this is really early. Okay. So what you have up there on top, that was the first ICS I ever purchased.
No shit. Nice.
That's an ICS PCR 97. So it's the Gen 2. I told you earlier there was one I bought from a guy online that was Gen 1. Yep. That one was crap. This is the one I bought right after that.
Okay.
And you see that rail system on there. So back in the day, you didn't have a lot of options for rail systems. You just had to buy what you could from Taiwan. Yeah. And that's what they were selling. And I probably spent $150, $200 on that. And you can see it's not straight. It's plastic. It's shit. It's a horrible rail system. It's heavy. It's miserable. But I mean, you were the king dingaling when you had that back in the day. I mean, look at that. Look at those vertical forend grips. I mean,
dude, I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, is the gun sitting crooked or something?
No, nothing was straight back then. It was horrible.
Warped.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my God, that's funny. Yeah, that's all.
It was horrible back then. Man. So those are both ICS. That ICS. What's that?
Did it shoot well?
Yeah, actually it did. And back then, this is before lipos, so your batteries were big.
Shit. Yeah.
You had your nickel metal hydride, those 9.6s, and
like 9.6s or the 8.4s or
yeah, you'd get a 3600 mAh 9.6, brick, and you'd throw it in the stock.
Yep.
That's why they got those big fat stocks on them, so you can put that 9.6 in there.
Yep.
And I mean, the collapsible stock is cool, but then you'd be stuck putting the nunchucks and the handguard, and they barely fit. And it was just a nightmare changing them out.
Or a pec box and put it on the side.
Right. And you're changing them out every other game.
Yeah.
And no, it was an absolute pain in the ass. So a lot of people went with the full stock just to get that big fat 9.6 in there.
Now I'm trying to see, like, this magazine, is that exposed?
I got a dual mag on there. Okay.
Yeah,
it's just a magazine clip, a real steel magazine clip putting two together because
electrical tape or
no, it's actual metal.
It's a metal clip. Okay.
Yeah, you just kind of screw it together. Yep. That was real steel. This was early. God, this had to be 09. Actually, that MP5 was the first gun I purchased. That wasn't on eBay. I had that really crappy Gen 1 ICS I told you about. Then I bought the MP5, and then I bought the one above it. So I bought the MP5 first, and that MP5 was awesome.
Yeah,
but
nice.
Yeah, but it didn't come with that ridiculous forend. It had a light forend, and I got that one the same, from Taiwan, and it was a dark time. It was bad. I look at these guns now, and it's like, what the fuck was I thinking? They're horrible. They're god awful. But back then, you were the shit. You had that kind of setup.
You had all these, different styles. That's cool. All right, let's do.
Yeah, kill it with fire. Get rid of that.
Let's do this one. Let's see here.
Okay, so this is a good gun. This is a Gng M14 veteran. I know I was kind of talking shit about Gng a moment ago with that M4, but Gng has always made a excellent M14. And actually, this veteran right here, I sanded down the stock and I put a new finish on it. That's why that finish on that stock looks so sharp.
Yeah, it looks fucking badass.
That was a great gun, and it shot amazingly well. I never did have to open that gearbox. The guy who introduced me to Airsoft, Chris, this was his prized possession, and he left the sport. I convinced him to sell it to me, and this was probably to date, honestly, the best DMR I've ever owned, probably the best airsoft rifle I've ever owned. I sent you some more photos of an evolution of it. I switched it out to a plastic stock later to cut some weight. I put a better scope on it because that's the scope it came with, which was trash. That scope is like some Leapers 1-inch piece of shit. I'm a bit of a scope snob, even by airsoft standards. I'm a bit of a scope snob.
Yeah.
And that gun did shoot lights out. The only issue with it is that those guns were awesome for high cap magazines. If you're going to use a high cap, it was an excellent high cap. It fled flawlessly. But if you wanted to do more of a Milsim style where you wanted to run a mid cap, it was difficult to find good mid caps that would feed. So that was the issue with them, is finding a good mid cap that would feed. If I put, two high caps, one in the gun and one in my pocket, I would dominate. But if I wanted to do it correct and do an actual Milsim op with 6 mid caps, very difficult. Always fighting the feeding issues. Yep. But you want to talk about a gun that was very precise with it had a very unique hop-up system, kind of a barrel hop-up that just shot lights out. Yeah.
I think we've had one like that, actually.
Most of the M14 hop-ups are that kind of style.
Yep.
Even the Sima is kind of a knockoff of it. It's an excellent gun, excellent setup.
Yeah.
It's just a great gearbox design. You don't really see it anymore. And of course, the M14s are kind of, they're deader than disco. But I mean, that gun was amazing.
Yeah, I love that saying, by the way. I just watched, speaking of disco, I just watched, my wife and I just watched the movie about Queen, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yep. Queen's one of my favorite bands, oddly enough.
For a fucking deal now.
Yeah. I'm dating myself too, because when I say it's funny, I tell my wife, who's quite a bit younger than me, that what an amazing band Queen is, and she's like, "What are you talking? Who?" Yeah. So she.
Well, we own that movie, and we bought. We watched. She was like, I wouldn't mind watching that. So I have we were outside talking and whatever, and we had some music playing, and a Queen song came on. And she was like, "Oh, we haven't seen the movie in a while," so we started watching it. But anyway, yeah, Queen is, dude, they're one of the.
Yeah, and this, I would argue that Freddie Mercury was probably the greatest entertainer of all time, and this is coming from a hardcore Elvis Presley fan.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I would say that when you want to talk about pure showmanship and vocal talent, Freddie Mercury even was superior to Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
So
well, for his time, I mean, Elvis Presley was the Freddie Mercury of the 50s or what.
Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly apples and apples, but
it's not. Elvis he did kind of like what Freddie Mercury was doing with getting the crowd involved.
Yeah,
Elvis did that because before that, you got Fred Astaire, you got Frank Sinatra, big names like that, and they're singing, they're performing, but they're not getting the crowd involved.
Brother, I'm sensing you're a fellow Elvis Presley fan. I'm feeling your passion coming out.
Oh yeah, they're pointing to people in the crowd, right? Like Frank Sinatra, he'll say like somebody he knows.
Yeah,
you'll hear him in his live stuff talk. Hey Carol or whatever. But Elvis, he got the crowd involved.
Oh yeah.
So for his time, like he was like the Freddie Mercury, because that's what Queen did bigger than anybody else at that time, was get 100,000 people clapping and stomping their feet in the fucking stadium.
You know why they call Michael Jackson the king of pop? The of pop is there because Elvis Presley will always be the king. He was the king, period.
The king.
Exactly. God bless.
100%, bro. When I went, I was my last duty station was California, Pendleton, and first time in my life after I got stationed there, me and my buddies would go to Vegas. First time ever. This is before the internet, before all that shit. Before you knew anything. So road trip was just like. You did not know what to expect. And I'm telling you, like, internet and social media is great for learning things, but it kind of ruins the experience because you already know what to expect. And your expectations in life in whatever you're doing, especially with road trips, can ruin it because you already have too much information. You know what I mean? Like, the experience of a road trip is the awe of these new things that you've never seen before, never heard before, never been around before. So going to Vegas was the shit, bro. When I saw the first Elvis impersonator in these Elvis shows, I was like, holy shit, these guys are good, bro. Yeah. And there's one on every corner, this is cool.
I was going to get married in an Elvis chapel in Vegas, but we decided differently because our parents wanted to be there. But whatever, it's I'm a huge Elvis fan. It's my guy.
Nice. That's cool.
So,
well, let me bring up another.
Yeah, hit me another one.
So we got 3 here.
Do I got to click on the watch stream? There we go. Okay, so this is oh fuck, this is hideous. So that middle one is that G&G. When I first bought it, the whatever the hell it was, the GRA.
You put all the swag on it, yeah.
Yeah, before I put the swag on it. Yeah. The top and bottom one are both ICS. You can see it ICS PCR 97 because ICS has always been against paying for trades.
Nice.
So this was just me kind of showing off the state of the game, where I was. I had my CQB gun at the bottom and my field gun at the top, and that god-awful Chinese scope on there that was just, who knows, it was probably a 1-power red dot.
Dude, that looks cool. Shut your mouth.
Oh, it's garbage. The full-length stock, so I get that big battery in there. And if you look at the stock on the bottom there, that was kind of a neat one that ICS made a specific nickel metal hydride battery for that stock.
Oh, okay.
And the contacts were It was a special set of contacts. It was a pain in the butt because you would charge it with a standard Tamiya, small Tamiya.
Yep.
But when you threw it in the stock, the contacts were lined up with the battery, so they were it would work. You didn't have to plug it in. You just had to throw it in the stock. It was actually a pretty slick setup.
That's kind of cool, like a AA battery kind of thing. Just
right.
In there.
I used it for years, and it really worked. So yeah, that was my go-to for a long time. That rifle on the bottom there was my kind of one of my CQB guns. Yep. I'd probably just purchase that G&G dead center because it looks damn near stock because it came with that that integral suppressor on there. It was kind of a neat gun. Aesthetically speaking, performance-wise, it was lacking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's different.
You know, I was that guy, like a lot of people are, they just can't not fuck with their guns, not change them up and make them cooler or different or, try to make them.
Never heard the fucking saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right. Exactly. You're always chasing better performance, and sometimes you just need to let it go.
I'm saying. All right, let's do this one. Okay.
Okay, so this is an Ics Cxp. I think they called it the Cxp 16, and this was one of ICX's. It was their design. Most airsoft guns are a design off, some other gun that already exists in the world, and they got to pay for the trades. And while I was an ICS captain, I actually used to get into it with the. It was kind of interesting being a captain because I would be chatting on Facebook Messenger with literally the R&D department of ICS, some of the higher ups, and trying to explain to them the American market, and they just wouldn't understand. I'm like, look, Americans don't want something that you make. They want you to recreate something that exists in the real world, because in America, we can buy guns.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, we're going to do our own ICS design so we don't have to pay trades. And how do we make the ICS design more attractive to the American market? And they don't care. They don't want to shoot this thing. Having said that, this gun, this CXP, this gun was phenomenal. And various versions of this was my CQB gun for many years. Obviously, it's got that neat kind of skeletal retractable stock there, kind of almost like an MP5 style.
Yeah,
That's stock.
I'm looking at this strap right here. It looks like one of those metal straps we use for with the holes in it.
Yeah.
That goes on the fucking your plunger of your bathroom sink. Under your sink.
I love that gun though. That gun was awesome. And if you can't see it, but there's a PEC box on the other side. It was a PEC box mounted battery, which of course is a night.
Where the hell does the battery go? Because it's in the back here. There's no
ain't gonna happen.
No, unless you got a 7.4 lipo that's like super thin and short.
That was one of those where it was ICS's design. That gun does not exist in the real world, and I just loved it. I love the ergonomics of it.
Yeah.
I even love the logo. See, if you can see it there. They called it the Archangel, and the close up of it, if you could, it's an angel with wings with a rifle in each hand. It's just a really cool. I love that Archangel logo, and that's when they started the CXP series. They started with this. It went downhill after that. They had a CXP 16 that was a shit show, but I mean, this actual rifle here was phenomenal. You see the switch there on the top rail, because I use that counter supination grip that some people still decide to give me shit about, telling me I hold my gun wrong. But that C grip I use, that's why that pad is on top there.
Where you turn your hand backwards, you're talking about?
What's that?
Where you turn your hand the other way?
Yep. That's right. If you see that pad on top of there, that is when I started using that, and I've never stopped.
Yeah, I was obviously never trained on that type of style, and watching your videos on your YouTube channel, I've seen you use that, and I'm like, wow, that is really natural.
Yeah, it's comfortable. It's not for everybody, but I mean, if you're ever in a situation where you have to clear like a mall and you're going to be clearing for 2 or 3 hours, sustainability becomes your main concern, and not accuracy. And that's why I use it. And it's it's great for weapon retention. It's good strength because you're retaining your weapon with your tricep instead of your bicep, and it makes a huge difference. Yeah, I love it. Some guys don't like it. I haven't really received it much lately. Back in the day, I used to receive a lot of hate comments about, oh my God, you're holding your weapon wrong and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, brother, I didn't tell you had to hold your gun this way. I don't give a shit how you hold your gun. Hold it however you want,
bro.
Yeah, this is how I do it. Fuck off.
Look at my performance and fuck up.
Right. You know? If I'm an idiot, I'm the one risking my life. Don't worry about it. It's cool.
Well, there you go.
Right here.
Yep.
Counter supination.
Yeah.
Everything in tight, in close.
So natural.
Using your triceps. It works.
Yeah. Big.
People don't want to do it. That's fine. Don't do it. I don't care.
For real.
They want to do their mag pull grip, which is kind of finally going out of favor a little bit. And if you see me shoot a shooting competition, it's very rare I do a shooting competition. I just did it last week. I do the one shooting competition I do a year, the 3-gun. But, you'll see me shooting like this. Okay. If it's a shooting competition where I'm just doing like a 3-minute, shoot all these targets and do your
really
thing.
Short.
Yeah, you'll see me doing this. Absolutely. Why? Because it works, because it's more accurate.
Right.
But I can't hold a rifle like that for 3 hours.
No.
It'll wear me out.
Yep.
So sustainability becomes, that's real life right there.
All right, there you go. It's a nice looking gun.
I click on watch stream. Oh yeah. Okay, so that's my current AK.
Okay.
So that's my Arcturus AK 101, I think, or 105. In fact, when I made the YouTube video, I screwed up what it was and whether it was a 101 or a 105. And like the first 5 comments were people jumping in there telling me, oh, you fucked up. It's this or that. Okay, whatever.
If you mess up a YouTube video, just wait for your comments. They'll
clear it up for you.
That's what it is.
They'll clear it up for you. Yeah.
I'm telling you now. Hell yeah.
So this is my current kind of go-to field gun, more or less, when I'm not running a DMR. You'll notice it's got an Aimpoint M2 on it. That's the same Aimpoint M2 that was on the one we talked about a while ago. That's like an 8-year-old optic, and it's still hanging in there.
Nice.
The rail mount on there, the rail mount for the optic is a RS Regulate AK rail mount. I just had one sitting in a box somewhere from a real steel AK build I had years ago.
Yeah.
And luckily I had it ready to go and threw it on there because they're about $150 that mount. Woo. But it's real slick. Great mount. 30 millimeters. So you throw the aim point in there.
Right.
And I threw a Magpul stock I had laying around. Notice the grip is a full grip, like an American grip, not a traditional AK or Eastern European grip.
Yep.
AK-74 magazine. I think I did a review on this on my channel. The Arcturus AK. They're heavy, it's got kind of a real firearm weight to it. Absolutely. Well built.
Yeah. The Arcturus, for sure, is steel everywhere.
And it came down to, am I going to get an LCT? Because this was to replace the Echo One OCW is what I was replacing with when I bought this. And I was either going to go with the LCT or with the Arcturus. And I was looking at some reviews, and I just, I said, fuck it, I'm going to go with the Arcturus. I'm going to go with what most people are going to the LCT. Let's try something else.
Yeah.
Look at that. Even the little things like that universal sling point there on the end. A lot of AKs don't have sling points.
Really pronounced.
Put one in there.
That's a big one. Yep.
It's well thought out. It's got the side rail so I could use my RS Regulate rail system. It's got an M-lock rail. I mean, a lot of AKs don't have that. It's just well thought out. It's well designed. And it is a shooter. My only complaint about it, and I love this gun, love it. Only complaint is that I can't wire it to the stock, the battery. I gotta put it underneath the dust cover.
Yep.
It's a pain in the ass.
It's a pain in the ass.
And I'm limited to a 900
Especially when you got the scope thing on there. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, that's easy enough to remove, but I'm limited to a 900 mAh LiPo battery stick.
Yep.
And I got to change it out every game if I shoot a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't like that. I want it to last longer. I'd like to put my 1400 mAh sticks in there that I use on my M4, my DMR in the stock. It's probably possible to put them in the stock, but every time I open it up and consider drilling some holes, I get scared and back down. So,
yeah. Well, especially when it's such a solid gun, you know, that's the main complaint we have as well on the AKs style is putting the battery in the top, bro. Like, dude, come on.
right.
Please wire it to the fucking back, okay?
And with my OCW, with my Oko 1 OCW, I always wired them to the rear. If they didn't come that way, and I would just wire it, and it wasn't a big deal. The Arcturus actually has a quick change spring system, and that quick change spring puts puts material in the way that kind of keeps you from going to the stock as easily. Yeah. It's just a solid build. I mean, it's just heavy construction.
You'd have to Dremel a path for your wire.
Yeah, and you know, I have the tools to do it. I can drill it, but I get nervous. So you look at even the rivets, the quality of the riveting there on that that receiver is not quite as good as a real steel AK, because I've worked. I'm down to one AK. At one time I owned 3. I'm down to 1.
Okay.
And you know, you look at the rivets, and a lot of the determining the quality of your AK real steel is looking at the quality of the riveting. And although the riveting here is not as good as real steel, it's close. It's closer to real steel than it is like a Cyma. Absolutely. It's very good. Yeah, it's a well-made airsoft gun. I can't say enough good things about it. My only complaint is, can I get a battery wired to the rear? Yeah. So that's it.
We have a video actually on unboxing an Arcturus AK last year, I think, and it was an Airsoft GI mystery box, and this thing was freaking awesome. Like, shot awesome. It felt heavy as hell. Now this, it's not something I'd want to carry for, me personally for a 3-day milsim, because it was realistic with the and,
they're stout. There's no doubt about it. They're stout.
Yeah, for real. But it was very solid.
Yeah, I love it. If you see me on the field, weekend pickup game, chances are about 50-50 I'm carrying that one.
Yeah. So you were talking about the sling point, and that leads me into the sling that you sent me.
Oh, shameless plug. Run it.
And
roll with it.
Little segue there. So about, what was it, a month and a half? You were sending me pictures online through Discord or whatever, and text, about the sling you were making.
Yep.
And so anyone that's listening right now, let me give a little, history on this, just 10 seconds of, this guy has the background, real life, with, being on a SWAT team in real life. That's his job. This is what he does for a living. And he came up with a Bungee Sling that I'm holding up right now. So if you're not watching this video, I'll kind of describe it a little bit. He has put a ton of thought into the strap and the clip that goes on your sling point and this bungee part, okay? So the reason for the strap. So what is what do you call this strap now? It's not a single.
So it's, and I have a couple sitting next to me.
It's a rolled slap or a rolled strap. Like it's
Okay, this is a tubular nylon webbing.
yeah, tubular.
I use it. It's kind of like a fire hose if you think about it. You know how it's made.
But it's really soft.
It's soft.
Really soft.
It's really strong. 4,000 pounds is the break strength, which you'll never use that much.
No.
We use it in tactical rappelling because it is so strong and it's light and it's affordable, and that's why we use it. And it comes in lots of cool colors.
Yep.
That's what airsoft guys care
You're
about.
holding up a tan one right now. I'm holding up, the one I got from you is the
Yeah, I have all sorts of colors, but I've been playing around with different designs. Actually, you have the earlier design, which if you have the triangular,
well, you
pieces
sent me
there.
all three. You sent me all three. So
That was a little earlier when I was still working out what I wanted to attach it with. So that's the Mark Zero. We settled on using the triangular piece, which is
this one right here.
yeah, the Delta clip there.
Yep.
Ultimately, we have that. That's the Mark Zero. The Mark One. Let's see if I have one here.
Is it
So the Mark One is like this, where it's just got a little smaller trigger snap. This attachment thing here is called a trigger snap.
Yep.
I use it because it's strong and you can attach it with one hand. I actually removed that Delta ring entirely, and that because some people saw that as a failure point, which is fine. I actually took it to some of my fellow members of my SWAT team and said, "Hey, what do you guys think of this?" And they had critiques, and they said, "Well, we don't like this or we do like that," and that's why I got rid of that because I didn't like that it was a failure point. The other version is the Mark II. Oddly enough, most people like this one, and it's really not my jam. But it's got two trigger snaps.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to,
Yeah,
you can turn it into. I might as well just show you.
the double.
Yeah, you can turn it into a 2-point. 2 points aren't really my jam when I'm using a rifle like this.
Yeah.
So here it is a 1 point.
Yep.
You want the bungee to go across your chest, take the stress off your neck. And if you want to go to a 2 point, you just unclip that. And now you have a 2 point.
Okay.
A lot of the guys I work with, they wanted this kind of setup. That's why I created it. Apparently, a lot of airsoft players want it too, because that's what they call, and that's the critique they gave me is, "Hey, I want something that can convert to a 2 point."
But
I said, "Okay, I'll make it."
Question is, we tried this out. Okay, me and my son tried this out, and with the 1 point, and with your video on showing this and why you created this, bungee in the first place, part of the sling, was it eliminates the 2 point. Like, you don't need it.
No, I don't use it.
You're sniping, So when I was in, like I said, what I was trained on with the long range stuff, with a long gun, you wrap your sling around your elbow. Okay.
Right. That stability. Yeah.
Yeah. And you snap it in to where your left arm, or, I'm right-handed, so your left arm is going numb after about 30 seconds. And that's the right way to do it.
Yeah. It tightens everything up, but in airsoft, that really isn't relevant. The main thing you want to do is be comfortable and keep your weapon from going in the dirt. And I'm a big fan of
versatility with moving from this side to this side without adjusting your sling, and you can adjust your sling once for height, where it dangles. So when you drop it, it's not hitting the fucking ground or hitting your knees. You don't have to, adjust it that long.
And to be clear, I didn't create the concept of a bungee sling. I mean that it's a pretty old concept.
Yeah.
The first one I had was who made it?
I think one of the pictures we showed, actually, one of your guns had a bungee sling on it.
Correct.
Yeah.
And the Black Hawk Dieter sling, and Dieter was some operator from the 80s. And he came up with this bungee sling. It's nothing new.
Right.
This is just me putting a little bit of a different spin on it, because usually the bungee's covered. Mine's exposed. Often the bungee's on both sides. Mine's on one side. I wanted a simpler design. And this works well for me. I use this at work right now. If you see me, doing real world shit, I'm using one of these Bungee Slings, and let's see here.
So it's durable. It's something you can use in
Right.
On
and I have a whole
sim.
I got a whole crap load of them. This is a color that I bought just to kind of play with. I actually made this for a friend. This is forest green. Not really I'm not a fan of it, but he liked it, so I made it for him. We'll grab it and we'll do it. I got them in flat dark earth, both the bungee and the actual sling. I got them in OD. Both I got an OD bungee, OD sling, blah 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 blah, and of course black, which is the most popular.
Yeah,
this is what I have the most of flying around is black. I believe we're selling them for $35 for the 1 point and $40 for the one that can switch to the 2 point, and that's just because it cost me another $5 to buy another trigger snap. That's why it costs $5 more.
Yeah, we'll definitely be ordering more for all the different rifles we have in this house.
Appreciate it. Yeah, there's a lot of sales. I'm doing quite well. A lot of orders coming in. In fact, I have a kind of a hard time keeping up. I finally caught back up. I had to buy a bunch more colors and different, because I never wanted to get red and blue, because red and blue, why? OD, tan, flat dark earth, black, right? What else do you need?
What's a red sling?
The Speedy Boys, the CQB guys, the
shit. Okay.
They love that shit. They like the bright. I tell you, if you can find a tubular webbing in a color that you want, shoot me an email. It'll take me a few more days to get it in, but I'll buy. If you want to buy 5 slings, I will buy pink webbing. I will get pink webbing in. I will make you your sling. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Bright orange. The speed QB guys, it's not really my jam, but if that's what they want, I'll make it for you.
That's true. You have a guy that you work with, you work hand in hand with as far as, selling your slings and whatever through his t-shirt site, which is Unsavory Tees. I'll have a link for all this stuff, guys. If you're listening, I'll have a link for all these in the description of our podcast and our video on YouTube, so you can click on it and go straight there.
Yeah, his name is Eric. He's a longtime airsoft player. He's good at the technical side of things. He helps me out on my website or my channel with making things a little bit cleaner. Right. And better. And he set up he obviously already had his Unsavory Tees t-shirt shop. He's like, hey, I'll make you a separate subsection. We'll set it all up for you. He's really helped me out a lot because I'm a big dumb animal. I'm a SWAT jock. So I don't do so well with the technical side of things. But he is he likes airsoft. He's like us. He's out there playing and getting hit and he understands the airsoft community, so support him. It's a good dude. So you're opening the good stuff.
Yeah, you see that? With a cork. Hey, it's got a cork, man. If it's got a cork, it's probably good.
It's classy. It's the good stuff.
I'm saying
you can't sneak that past me.
Woo.
But my day job, downstairs from my office, there's a range, and literally my boss. Great guy, one of my SWAT commanders, he'll hand me an optic and say, hey, go test this. Go tell me what you think about it. I'll throw it on. Right. And that's my job. I'll throw it on a gun. I'll test it out. I'll tell them what I think. And a lot of it's, where does it zero? Or where, what's the drop? And how do I feel about it? And is it heavy? Is it, whatever. A lot of it goes into it.
Well, I'll give you a guess of how long we've been on here. But I bet you won't guess.
Hour and 45 minutes.
2 hours and 12 minutes.
Oh, my God. We're going to roll right along.
See, I'm so glad you said way less than what we've been on because it means, time flies when you're having fun. I think this is a good stopping point, man. Anyone listening and watching check out Gunfather Milsim, his slings on Unsavory Tees. I'll have a link in the description, unsavorytees.com, And then his channel, of course, YouTube channel. Dude, you got some videos that have some pretty high views. You know, I was
Yeah,
looking at some of your older videos.
I'm getting there. In spite of my poor production quality, I'm getting there.
No,
So
you got some good. You got some.
working on it.
It's not the production quality is not the top thing with your channel. It's the content.
Yeah,
You have a shit ton of experience, real world experience with what you're putting out.
and I got a foot in each world. I really love playing airsoft, and I really love the real world stuff. And I want to drag the airsoft community just a little bit, kicking and screaming over into the real world realm, and just if you want to be about it, let's be about it. Let's do things correctly. Try to do things correctly. At the end of the day, it's still all about fun. It's all about having fun. I get that. It's recreation. Lord knows I love it for recreation. But let's try to do things right. If you want to dress the part, let's act the part.
Absolutely.
So do it right.
100%. Yeah. Thanks for being on, man. It's been awesome.
Thanks for having me.
All right, brother. We'll talk to you.
Yep. Take care.